The man who built $2 billion companies at once. In 2008, Jack Dorsey was fired from the company he co-founded. He was pushed out of Twitter, the revolutionary platform born from his own mind. The official story is complicated, but reports at the time pointed to a leader who struggled with operational demands, frequent arguments with his co-founders, like Evan Williams, and a communication style that left investors wanting more. His tendency to leave work early for other pursuits like drawing classes, yoga, and even an interest in fashion design didn't help his case. His co-founder famously told him, "You can either be a dressmaker or the CEO of Twitter, but you can't be both." For most people, that would have been the end of the story. Just another founder who lost control of his own creation. But for Jack Dorsey, it was just the start of an unbelievable second act. How did the guy who was exiled from his own kingdom not only come back to run it again, but also build a second billion-dollar empire at the exact same time? This is the story of how a trait that got Jack Dorsey fired became the very engine that created two of the most influential companies of our time. To understand how Dorsey pulled this off, you have to go back to the beginning. Growing up in St. Louis, Missouri, he was obsessed with the pulse of a city, the real-time ballet of taxis, couriers, and emergency services. At just 14, while still in high school, he was already coding dispatching software, some of which was used by taxicab companies for decades. For him, it wasn't just a hobby. It was a fixation on one simple idea, seeing what's happening right now. This obsession followed him to NYU, but in the tradition of tech entrepreneurs, he dropped out before finishing his degree to chase his ideas. He moved to California and started a company to offer his dispatch software over the internet. That focus on real-time status updates slowly morphed into a pitch he made to the podcasting company Odeo. On March 21, 2006, he sent the first ever tweet, and Twitter was born. He became the company's CEO in 2007, and Twitter became an overnight phenomenon that would go on to redefine media and communication. But inside the company, things were messy. The platform frequently crashed, employees complained about his management, and the board grew restless. So in October 2008, they fired him as CEO and moved him into a silent chairman role. He was out. The company he dreamed up was no longer his to run. For anyone else, this would have been a crushing defeat. For Dorsey, it was a forced opportunity. Just a year after being ousted from Twitter, Dorsey found a new problem to fix. His friend, Jim McKelvey, a glass artist in St. Louis, lost a $2,000 sale simply because he couldn't accept a credit card. It was a problem that millions of small business owners faced. For Dorsey, this was just another version of the old dispatch problem, a disconnect in the flow of the economy. This sparked the idea for Square. He and McKelvey imagined a tiny, simple device you could plug into a smartphone's audio jack, allowing anyone to accept credit cards. The concept was revolutionary, but the business model was a huge bet. They were entering a hyper-competitive, low-margin market and decided to give the little Square card readers away for free, gambling that they could make money off a tiny percentage of each transaction. It was a massive risk. They were a hardware company not charging for its hardware, led by a founder who'd just been publicly pushed out of his last venture. And yet, they landed $10 million in funding and launched Square in 2010. The bet paid off. Small businesses, from coffee shops to artists, loved it. By 2011, Square was expanding with new tools for merchants. But the story was far from over. Back at Twitter, leadership was in chaos. The company was struggling with stagnant user growth and a slumping share price under then-CEO Dick Costolo. In a wild twist of fate, the company that fired him decided they needed him back. In 2011, he returned as executive chairman, and in 2015, he became interim CEO, a role that was made permanent later that year. This was the moment that defined his career. Jack Dorsey was now the CEO of two major public tech companies. At the same time, he was running Twitter, the global town square, while also steering Square, a rapidly growing financial empire. He was about to take Square public just a few months later, in November 2015. Wall Street was stunned, with critics insisting no one could effectively lead both. The very divided focus that had gotten him fired was now his official full-time job. It's a wild story about how a perceived weakness can become a defining strength. Building one revolutionary company is nearly impossible. Building two at the same time is something else entirely. If you're finding this story as fascinating as we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more deep dives into the minds shaping our world. While everyone was focused on the drama of his dual CEO roles, Dorsey was already planting the seeds for his next big move. Inside Square, he saw another opportunity. The company was great at serving merchants, but that was only half of the economic equation. So in 2014, Square quietly launched a new product, Cash App. What started as a simple peer-to-peer payment tool quickly became the engine of the company's future. Cash App expanded fast, adding a debit card, and most importantly, the ability to buy and sell Bitcoin in 2017. This wasn't just another feature, it was a declaration of Dorsey's deepest conviction. He had become a true believer in Bitcoin, calling it the native currency of the internet and a tool for economic freedom. He has said, "Bitcoin will replace the US dollar, and there is nothing more important to work on than Bitcoin." That belief drove his next move. In late 2021, just days after he finally resigned as CEO of Twitter, he rebranded Square Inc. to Block. Inc., the name was symbolic, referring to building blocks, neighborhood blocks, and the blockchain itself. It signaled the company was no longer just about merchants, it was now an ecosystem of interconnected blocks. Square for sellers, Cash App for consumers, and new projects like Spiral and TBD dedicated to blockchain technology and advancing Bitcoin. He became the CEO of Block, putting all his energy into this new, decentralized vision. His exit from Twitter marked the end of an era. He handed over the keys and his focus became singular once again, this time entirely on Block. Recently, that has meant doubling down on Bitcoin infrastructure with projects like new mining systems and a self-custody wallet called BitKey, designed to make holding your own crypto easier and more secure for a global audience. In the end, Jack Dorsey's career is a masterclass in contradictions. He's a leader who was fired for being distracted, only to find his greatest success while being purposefully divided. He built Twitter, a platform that centralized global conversation, and is now dedicating his life to Block, a company focused on decentralizing power. His journey shows how a single obsession, in his case creating tools for open and immediate exchange, can take on different forms. First, it was the exchange of information with Twitter, then the exchange of money with Square and Cash App, and now the exchange of value on an open, decentralized standard with Bitcoin. He was the man who built $2 billion companies at once, but in his mind, he may have only been building one thing all along: a more accessible economy. And with his full attention now on Block, his second act may end up being his most revolutionary one yet.